Common sense isn't gone. It just needs a comeback. Common Sense Superheroes with David and Greg.
What's up, and welcome to another episode of Common Sense Superheroes. I am your host, David, and my co-host is the bearded one over there, Mr. Greg Miller. What's up, Greg?
I believe we both have beards, my friend. It's just that mine's a little
Yeah,
thicker
yours
and
is
grayer these days.
well, mine is definitely gray. It don't really get thick. It just kind of grows all white trashy right here, kind of like Kid Rocky. So that's what I do.
Well, at the
Greg,
risk
I
of
don't know if you
sounding
know
too
it.
much like that guy and talking about my lovely venturous travel escapades, we're heading out to Park City for our ski trip in a couple of weeks. So I'm trying to get the mountain man look going.
Poor Greg, I tell you, I don't know how you do it. It's a rough
My
life you
life does
lead. I'm
not
gonna tell
suck.
you, it does not. It does not. But it's cold out in Park City, bro. I mean, I don't know if you know
They hadn't had
this.
any snow. They have had no snow this year. I've been
Really?
texting with the snowmobile guy out there. Shout out Walt. Hope you're doing well, Walt. But he's even said, he goes, don't book anything yet. He goes, we're not even sure we can take y'all snowmobiling.
Dude, it was so much snow this past weekend. I mean, it was unreal.
That was
We've
in
had 2
Denver
weekends
though.
in a row.
That was in Denver,
Oh, I'm
Colorado.
I'm talking about it in Fire Branch, Georgia. We've
Well,
had
that's
so
a
much
little
damn
farther
snow.
away even.
Yeah, we couldn't even I mean, the last 2 weeks, it was kinda one of those, "Hey, Thursday night, you better get your shit together. You better
Dude,
load up all the groceries and whatnot."
this has the potential to be so tragic. This has become one of our annual trips, and it's absolutely one of my favorite places in the world. I'm a mountain guy at heart. I love the beach, but mountains just it's a sense of peace, and I can't imagine anywhere more beautiful than Park City and that area. But we have been building this up for 5 years because we've been going 5 years in a row, and this is the first year we're finally taking my daughters. And I'm just beside myself. If we every time I've shown up out there, not only has there already been 2 or 3 feet of snow everywhere you look, but, on a 4 or 5 day trip, at least 3 or 4 of those days, it's dumping on us 6, 8 inches a day. And I'm going to be so upset if the first time I get to take my girls out there, they don't get to see any of that.
Y'all get to go, water skiing instead of snowmobiling.
Well,
Is that what it is?
luckily the slopes will be okay. They have mastered the art of producing snow, so the skiing won't be affected. But the rest of the winter activities in that place, if you've never been, it's literally it's like a little snow globe, man. It is just magical and so pretty. So, it's hard to even put into words. But I'm hoping I know they don't always like it, but I'm hoping they get dunked on repeatedly in the next couple of weeks.
Well, I tell you, I want to travel to snow. I don't like it outside my house where we
You got
can't
2
go
weeks left to
anywhere.
book the
That
trip.
is torturous. It was torturous these last 2 weekends where we couldn't even get out. When I say torturous, mainly because the kids are stuck as well, and, if you can't go and my wife and I, we go to Costco every weekend. So that's our little date day is Costco. We couldn't even go to Costco the last 2 weeks. We damn near running out of toilet paper. If you don't have at least 45 rolls of toilet paper, I feel like we're missing out.
I thought
But
you
it
would have
was,
learned your lesson from the whole COVID debacle. I thought you'd have several cases of toilet paper at all times.
we stay stocked, son. That's like, when you showing off the money, that's what we do. We show off Costco receipts. That's how we ain't got no money, but we got Costco receipts. That's as good as gold.
That's it,
It's
man.
been that 2 weeks of being inside, I'm not like I said, especially Flyer Branch is not made for it. The icy, the roads, everything's just horrible conditions. You couldn't go anywhere. The kids had a great time. They had fun sledding, but that after in and out, having to dry the damn clothes and put them, taking 10 minutes to get each of them one of them dressed, it's too much. And
Well, I
at least
almost threw you a curveball today after one of my Facebook friends commented on both of us having such plain ass backgrounds. I almost
I
went and
saw
sat my
that.
computer up outside, just because I'm thinking, man, this is the first day in about 2 weeks I've seen anything over 55 degrees. I kind of want to go enjoy some nice
I
outside time.
I did see him bust us out, and he is right. It is boring, but we guess we got to start somewhere. I can't
We
remember
are
who
focused on
said
just
it, but
superior content. This is not about image.
yes.
This is about superior content.
Tell you what, I really said over the weekend, I was like, "You know what? I'm gonna sit down and I'm gonna really do some studying. I'm gonna work on what we're gonna talk about, make the show great for everybody." And because we were stuck inside with snow, I was like, "You know what? Damn it. We just sat down and watched 2 movies." And almost don't even wanna say what movies we watched, but I watched 2 movies with my lovely wife, and I did not do a single bit of prep. So all most of this is gonna be off the dome today.
Well, I have kind of in the same vein. I have actually started carrying around like a little notebook and a pen, going, God forbid, if I ever have a moment of genius, I want to take notes and write it down. But there ain't a note in that book at this point. Everything I get and bring on here, it's just me making it up as I go.
All right, I said I wasn't gonna say it, but I watched 2 movies that I've never seen before, and I understand why I've never seen them before, but they are classics according to some. By some, I mean females. We watched Fried Green Tomatoes, and wouldn't you know it, right after that came on Steel Magnolias. So I
Mm.
watched Fried Green Tomatoes and Steel Magnolias back to back over the weekend. Now, like just like every red-blooded American male, that's what we did this weekend, Greg.
I will.
Did you?
I was picking on your pre-show about the nice manly Coors hat you're wearing, which obviously was a gift for your wife because you don't have the man card to afford to buy something like that. I can talk you, Dave. I have never seen either one of those movies, and I believe that this is something a bit of an accomplishment. I've never seen Titanic. Now, for our
That is an
generation,
accomplishment.
like for our generation, that was the biggest movie of our whatever 12, 13-year old. Like
Yes.
every girl wanted you to take them to see Titanic. I made a vow when that movie came out, I will not go see that movie. And to this day, I have yet to see Leonardo DiCaprio drown, although I have been tempted just for that reason.
Well, I mean, you didn't see Kate Winslet's boobs? That's worth the whole movie right there. Kate
No,
Winslet's getting it done, son. She's got some hammers in them bad boys.
never saw it.
But fried green, that's simply amazing. Fried green tomatoes I've never saw. For me, that's my Titanic, having
Well,
never
that was
seen it.
filmed right down the road here. That that
And
uh
Juliet, Georgia, I
that little
know.
cafe
That's
is
where the
about
little
15 minutes from my
cafe
house.
is. You would think I would have. I think I've drove by it before, but still have never seen the movie until this past weekend. And let me just say, a lot of dying in both of them movies. Everybody likes to die. I mean, I look over, my wife's squalling, but
I
still
don't know if
Magnolias,
I
as
don't know
soon
if
as
you've caught
Juliet.
on the trend yet, but that's pretty much going to happen to most of us.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's happened, quite a few. And, but let me just I'll finish this with this still Magnolias. Once Julia Roberts got her hair cut looking all busted, it was the end of the day. That was it. It was over. I knew she was dead. I told Brooke, I said, "She's dead. Look at that haircut. She jacked up."
So you didn't hesitate to
You
throw your lovely wife Brooke under the bus and talk about her tears. Did you shed any?
I may listen, okay? Look, Sally Field's a good actress, okay? When she was sitting there worried about her daughter. Give me a second.
The only difference between me now and me in a younger days is now I don't try to stop the tears. Now I'm an emotional old fart, and I can't watch TV. I can't sit through a church service without tearing up. So I'll
I've
admit I ain't got no.
always I've always been a sensitive guy when it comes to that, or some would call it a wuss, but, even today, if Rudy gets in when Rudy gets into Notre Dame, I mean, how do you not get tear up? I'm just saying, and I don't even like Notre Dame. And then Rocky 2, hello, when, Adrian wakes up, and she says, "I want you to do one thing for me. Just win, Rocky." Come on now. You didn't go out and do
I was a
push-ups and
Rocky Four
tears?
guy. Rocky Four was my favorite.
Rocky 4 is the best, I will agree. Sorry, I had to take a sip of my coffee with, my Jake's Pool Service cup, mug. Friendly neighbor gave me that. Dude, the listens are coming. We got quite a few listeners, but we got people reaching out to us. I mean,
Yes,
listen,
my,
I
my
got a
my mom
friend.
says she listens every episode.
Listen, my buddy Ty down in Daytona, I think he's got a charter boat service. I'm hoping we get to the point, Ty, to where we make enough money off this that we can come down in and use your service. Maybe we can do a podcast on remote down in
Help
old
me out here, Dave.
Daytona on a charter boat.
Back me up on this. I can say with a high degree of certainty, I do not believe my wife has yet to listen to a complete episode. Has yours?
Absolutely not. My wife don't listen to anything I do. I can't. What I had a podcast before. She don't even know nothing about it. I don't even think we're Facebook friends. I'll be honest with you. It's just nothing. I could talk about this or that. Not a word. She's over it, which I want it that way. In fact, speaking of that, my buddy Tommy was like reaching out to me. He was like, "Hey, you need to shout out Brooke a little more." I was like, "She ain't listening. Brooke ain't listening. Would be pointless." But my buddy Tommy did. I appreciate you, Tommy. Big Tom said he listens. He he said, "Hey, I need some more material because I'm coming back from Kentucky on Friday." I was like, "Hey, man, we about to do one now. I'll let you know." He said, "Well, I want to get y'all's opinion on AI." And I was like, "Well, listen,
Ooh, ooh.
Allen Iverson was a hell of a baller, okay,
The
pound for
answer.
pound. But turns out he meant artificial intelligence. I was like,
I got some thoughts on that
well,
too.
me and Greg might be able to say a little something about AI, but we may get into AI a little later in the show or maybe another show because, hey, man, whether you like it or not, it's coming. I'm slowly trying to learn it the best I can, but it's damn sure coming, and it's worrisome. But what it does now with a little bit that I do it for, it's awesome. I love it.
Well, I think before we progress into any real topic, then at least one of us, and clearly it's not going to be you, needs to throw a shout out to your lovely wife, Brooke. Brooke, thank you for letting your husband out to play and do this show with me a few times a week. I know he ain't much to look at, and Lord knows I can't imagine sharing a house
Well,
with
I
him, but I
mean,
have fun
okay.
for about 45 minutes
There's
to an hour here and there. So, Brooke, I appreciate it. Thank you. Love you. You've always been too good for him, probably still are, but he'll never say it.
she knows what she got. She knows. Uh that was very sweet. She will not know anything about it unless some of her
Oh,
friends on the
I'm
ball
posting
team listen.
this one on Facebook. I'm telling her to
I
listen.
know who does listen. Our good friend Christina Tallboy. The Tallboys listen because she said they gave us a shout out on their first podcast, which I'm still waiting to listen to. Christina, come on now,
I believe
Christina,
she
you
said she
put
gave
that
you a
podcast
shout
out.
out because she was stumbling over her words.
Yes, it was a shout out / talking about mumble mouth, which I've had a long night. So yes, I probably do have it today, but it was a backhanded compliment, but I'll take it. And I'll say this: you don't walk up to you if you don't know her because that would not be wise. But if you're lucky enough to ever get to the point where Christina Tallboy comes and gives you a hug, let me just tell you, she is a grade A hugger. She is one of
That's
the
a
best.
thing.
I feel like we're family because we played like 3 or 4 seasons of baseball, so I routinely get hugs. And, like in Thomaston at Church of God or Mountain View, in between services, you'd go out there and everybody just hug everybody. And you'd find that one woman that would just give you a hug. You're like, that she give you a hug like she loves Jesus. She gave you that Jesus loving hug. That's Christina Tallboy. She's a grade A hugger. She a Jesus loving hugger.
We
Okay.
need more of that in this world. We need a
Dude,
lot more of that.
she loves Jesus and it shows because she is a damn good hugger. And I'll give a shout out to my wife. Also, great hugger. So
Hey,
I
David,
hear. I don't get them, but other
you,
people do.
you've given me an idea. Maybe when we get out and do one of our remote shows on location somewhere, maybe we can get Christina to help us draw a crowd by offering to give out hugs.
Listen, she is
If her
quite a
husband's okay with it.
I'll see what Jeremy's all about promoting. You ain't never seen a bigger hustler than Jeremy Tallboy.
Mm.
I don't know how the hell he does it. Every time I look, he's out in New Orleans or somewhere doing a podcast or a show about lawn services. And every time I look that night, he's back in the garage hitting baseballs with his son. Dude is a straight baller and a hustler, and I give him all the props in the world. Both of them, the tall boys are big. I appreciate them. In fact, I told him, I said, you kind of encouraged me to get out there, and I saw him doing all that stuff. I was like, you know what? Hell, the tall boys can do it. I can go out and do a podcast or something like that. So props to them. But yeah, Christina, grade A hugger, but we'll get a lot of people show up just on looks alone because she's a little easy on the eyes too, which is also great. But a grade A hugger, Christina, just can't say it enough. Can't wait to get another hug. She's so sweet. I love it. Now I know why Brooke don't listen. I get it.
Yeah, I'm having second thoughts about telling her to listen to this episode now.
Maybe no. It's Christina's a big part of our baseball family and stuff. I love it. And speaking of big part, a big event took place this past weekend, and that was one arrest of one Mr. Donald Lemon. I've been locked up. They won't let me out. Although they did let him out, sadly. Greg, what do you think about Don Lemon getting arrested?
I mean, by the letter of the law, and again, it is what it is. If we're going to arrest conservatives for praying outside or around abortion clinics, and if I'm correct, based on what I have heard, the church portion of the FACE Act was pretty much just thrown in there as an afterthought by the Democrats to give something. Nobody ever thought there would actually be a protest in church because that's just the most ungodly thing I could ever think of. But it is pretty explicit in the FACE Act that like what he did. I mean, they sentenced one, and again, this matters, and unfortunately it shouldn't. They sent one black lady, I believe, to about 4 or 5 years in prison. Now Trump pardoned it; she only ended up serving 3 or 4 months. But I mean, I don't see how a similar sentence isn't warranted in this case. Now, he obviously he won't serve it. He'll lawyer. I mean, this will drag out forever before anything happens. But to the letter of the law, yeah, he should absolutely be prosecuted, and I don't think they should. I don't think he should be sentenced to anything less than a few years.
He got exactly what he wanted. He wanted
Mhm.
to be a martyr, and he got exactly what he wanted. That's one thing that I love and hate about Trump is that he will fall into these traps. But I am glad he did it because if you were to have put up with that, it's only going to progressively get worse. If we would have, like we talked last time, Alex Preddy, the time he hit on the back of the car and broke the tail light and was acting a fool, if they'd arrested him then, he would have never had the chance to get shot the previous week. If you nip it in the bud, so to speak, if you're going to have somebody going into a church and protesting like that to where you're scaring kids and allegedly they were blocking people from going to like childcare because all the people came in, obviously the first thing they thought of was, oh my God, I got to get to my kids. And apparently they were blocking kids from getting to childcare. And that's where the issue one of the main issues take place. But if you blocking people from getting, first off, I would have bulldogged anybody to try to get to my child. But I'm not one to judge. But that's what I would have done. And then, of course, they would have been charged probably. But he knew what he was doing, even though he claims he didn't. He's like, I was just being a journalist. No, you knew exactly what you were doing. You passed out donuts and coffee to all these people. Your producer already get onto you one time during the live feed talking about, hey, don't be letting them know where you're going now. He's like, what? I didn't say exactly where. He's like, we got an idea. He knew exactly what he was doing, exactly what was going on. And if I'm not mistaken, a lot of people who were quote unquote independent journalists during January 6th went in, also got arrested because they were live streaming and whatnot, which is part of the FACE Act. So I have zero sympathy, and you're right, he probably will get off, but I'm glad he got arrested because if you let that fly, it's only going to get progressively worse.
Well, there's two things, and you mentioned January 6th, with God bless. That was such a ridiculous occurrence, and all of us can sit here and go, "That was stupid. It was idiotic." And look, it just
I
metastasized
called it
to
out at the
more
time.
than it ever should have been. In that moment, I said, "This is ridiculous. I don't care which side is doing it. This is retarded." And oh, I
Agreed.
said the retarded word. I'll get written up for that.
Up.
But at the end of the day, we are at a kind of a crux, and I've heard it talked about, but I don't know that anybody's really making this into what I think the substantial situation that it is. If if we are to move forward without the belief that yes, there clearly is a two-tiered legal system, that justice only knows one way, if he doesn't get equal and adequate punishment compared to what was doled out for the people praying at the abortion clinic, then they're basically telling us we do not live in a fair and just society. There are different rules depending on skin color, depending on who you sleep with, depending on what you believe. And I'm fine if that's the world we're going to live in, but just let me know, because the moment we decide that that's the world we're going to live in, I'm going to start adjusting who's in my world, and we're all going to share the same beliefs too.
Yeah, and that's kind of what the act is, which ironically this is the exact charges I think is the conspiracy against rights of religious freedom at a place of worship. Which, I mean, I don't know if you going in, you know, stopping somebody from doing that. It seems like that's the case. Injuring, intimidating, or interfering with the exercise of religious freedom tied to the FACE Act protections and the 1871 civil rights laws, which you got to say the irony of that is pretty funny that Don Lemon, the black, which he's quick to tell you, a black gay guy is getting the civil rights laws thrown against them. But, they're like, as political retribution. A grand jury, not a grand jury in Wyoming or a grand jury in Texas, a grand jury in Minnesota is the one that brought the charges about. So it ain't like, and they declined it at first, but then they came back with further evidence, which was Don Lemon's own damn live stream that he was basically telegraphing what they was going to go do. They're the ones that
Well, and
indicted him. So I mean,
and you got to take it a step further. Like I said, we can't move forward with the apparent and obvious, if this doesn't go the right way, with the obvious situation. There's literally a two-tier justice system that simply does not work. But the other side you got to be real careful on is if 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 this isn't seen all the way through the finish line and made a statement out of this, then Don Lemon does become a martyr. Don Lemon gets more power, more voices, more people listening to him. And at that point, you have absolutely encouraged every other left wing lunatic to go out and start messing with churches. And you know what's going to happen now? We talked about it on another podcast. You come in my church, you're probably gonna get shot.
Yeah,
And
you
then
go in the
what?
wrong
Well,
church.
it's
They knew what
Christian
they were doing.
nationalists. Yeah, I mean, we know what they're trying to do. They're trying to bait us. They like it's, and we're getting close. Like at the end of the day, like I am all for, look, violence doesn't solve any problem. But as a grown man, I have certain principles and certain beliefs. And David, I love you to death. But if you get about this far from my face and start yelling and screaming at me for any specific period of time, there's only so long before I snap and I hit you. And that's what they're
Yeah.
trying to get us to. And again, that's an analogy, but they are screaming in our face, in this case, literally in the ice things, but they are trying to get us to react just so that they can then react about the reaction.
And the parts leading up to the reaction are not ever filmed, it seems. Like, why don't we see Alex Pretty's film? Why don't we see Renee Good's wife's? She had a phone. Where was the video that she filmed? Probably because it doesn't look good. If it looked good for them, then they would definitely be showing it. That I promise you. But and now I guess Trump had came out, or Bondi, or Christy Nome, I take it back, was that they're starting the funding for body cameras for all ICE agents. By the way, should have been that way. My
Mhm.
gosh, they should have had that from the get go.
Remind me after this episode, I need to link and at Christy Nome for my thoughts on her so she knows how I feel. I need
I
to
did
send
have some
I need
people.
to send her a
I put
copy of
up
that
little
last podcast we did.
I put up a little clips and I was like, "Hey, you agree with Greg or not?" And I got a few people going, "Nope," which that's awesome. Listen, like you said, we go back to the January 6th thing. I called it out, and when people come at me, I'll be quick to pull out the picture of the post that I made on January 6th, talking about how ridiculous it was and how anti it I was.
Well,
But
I
the
can tell you
fact
too,
that
if I ever meet somebody who does agree with me on everything, I will not hang out with that sumbitch.
no, no, I don't want that guy either. As I know, oof, there's a lot of things that are very weird in the old noggin here. But the January 6th thing, I will say this, and there's so much that I'm thankful that we continue to stay consistent with podcasts because I got so many thoughts on so many issues. But now I won't bog down in the January 6th, but I'll just say two things. One, if you can always take it to one specific date of a protest that you point out from the liberals to Republicans, if you can point to one date, that tells you how rare that must happen because it rarely, if ever, happens on this side. I can't tell you a date that it happens with the Democrats or the, left wing crazies, if you want to call them, because it's so often. How many protests do we see on a routine basis where there's damage done to communities, damage done, financial damage, and people getting hurt, harmed, or killed? It happens all the time, sadly, when anything doesn't go their way. So if if you can only point to January 6th, then you know what? Damn it, I'll take that. If you
Well,
keep
not just
bringing up
that, and
one sense,
I have long since stopped trying to even argue with the other side on this because they're just not capable of logic and ration. But I get so sick of it, and why are we even still talking about it? It was a protest. It was a mostly peaceful protest with a few idiots who let things get out of control. But when I hear it qualified as a violent insurrection, and that was our attempts at overthrowing the government, and again, common sense superheroes, right? We're the side that supports the Second Amendment. We're the side that has the guns.
eh,
If we're showing up to overthrow somebody, why are we coming unarmed?
that was my other point. That was you took the words right out of my mouth, and it is common sense. The pro Second Amendment guys, you telling me we came to overthrow the government? Now, some dummy had a rope or some shit, I don't know, but we came to overthrow it with selfie sticks? Are you lost your damn mind? If we were going to overthrow the government, I promise you they'd be coming, armed to the teats on that.
Well,
But
and you
no, we
keep in
came with
mind
selfie
now,
sticks.
the Biden DOJ spent years and valuable resources hunting down using cell phone records anybody that was in the vicinity of the Capitol on that day
Yep.
because they wanted it to be everything the BLM riots was. They wanted it to be everything the George Floyd bullshit was. We ain't that type. We don't do that.
Yeah, and it was a horrible moment in time, the one where people were intimidating the cops and all that. It was tragic, and if you were to beaten on a cop or anything like that, then you should have been arrested, and I'm glad you were. They took it to the extreme when they started anybody that touched the Capitol, they'd start trying to arrest. I mean, it was ridiculous. And the fact that I keep saying it, but my God, a lady, Ashley Babbitt, got killed. Nobody, where's all the sympathy for that? Where's all the people in the Grammys posting about her? I didn't see not one person. I didn't see Billie Eilish say shit about Ashley Babbitt when she got killed. I didn't see none of them mention anything but God forbid, boy, Alex Preddy and Renee Good, tragic. Hate that they died. But you
I
got to be
didn't
fair if you're going to be that way.
I didn't watch a minute of that godforsaken show, but I will say this: I've seen the Jelly Roll clip over and over again, and God bless that man.
That
That's
is
somebody who
nice.
now gets it.
Yeah, I like old Jelly Roll. I can't say I like his music because sometimes he gets me, and he won me over
It's a
when he went
vibe.
to he wrestled he wrestled against Logan Paul, and I gotta say, better than I expected. Really
Yeah.
damn good, and he wasn't as slim as he is now. And I've done the Unreal that Netflix does behind the scenes of wrestling, showed him, and damn it, he loves it. It was like, you know what? I know you ate boogers before, and we've all seen the video of you eating boogers, which is bad luck. But you know what? I give you props, Jelly Roll, props.
Well, I tell people, and this is something that I have to own in my personal life. I say, you know, please don't judge me by the things I did before I found Christ or before I became a Christian. And I think we should all extend the same grace to Mr. Roll in this case.
Oh yeah, absolutely. In fact, speaking of the Grammys, I think I got a clip if I can figure out how to show
Oh
this.
Lord, you've been to blow up the whole world.
I think let's see. I hope I don't f things up here. Let's see what I can do here.
No one is illegal on stolen land.
Oh, that's courage, Greg. That's bravery. Listen to this.
And yeah, it's just really hard to know what to say and what to do right now. And I feel really hopeful in this room, and I feel like we just need to keep fighting and speaking up and protesting, and our voices really do matter, and the people matter. And
That's where she says F
no one
ice.
is.
Oh, that's where she
So
says F ice.
I'm not up
Did
on
you
my
see that, by the
masters
way?
of. Yeah, well,
Look at
and
that. See,
my
I done figured something out.
my philosophy degree is still waiting to come in the mail, but that seems like a bit of a logical fallacy that nobody can be illegal on stolen land, because I would venture a guess that whoever stole the damn land at that point would be illegal, because if they stole the land, that means they don't belong there, right?
You mean the land that she owns that she apparently paid $14 million for that was supposedly land from some Indian tribe, I believe it was? But
You
we
think
just gonna don't worry about that. Don't worry about do as
you
I say, not as I do.
think she's got a gate around that property? Maybe any security?
Exactly my point as well, Gregory. It's really easy to be like, hey, we got to let everybody in. Okay, well then you letting people on your property? Because last I checked, y'all had a guard gate up from when you walked down that red carpet. What if somebody who was illegal wanted to walk up on you then? Is that okay? So the hypocrisy is unreal in that
Well,
department. And I
and
listen,
David,
you should have security. I'm for it. I'm just asking that you give it to our country as well.
this may blow your mind. I mean, prepared to be amazed. I bet you had to show some form of ID to get in that place too.
I bet you had to show some form of ID to vote for the Grammys. So you telling me I got to vote who the new pop artist is? I got to show my ID, but I can just roll up and vote for the president of the United States without an ID? Wow. What a
And
quandary.
tell me, I am way not up on pop culture in any way, shape, or form. But I heard that our Super Bowl guy Bad Bunny won like album of the year, and I can tell you two things. One, and I am not up. I'm not a music guy first and foremost, and I'm certainly not up on pop culture. But we live in a special kind of stupidity when the Grammy winner for Best Album of the Year and the Super Bowl artist is the same person, and I've never heard a single lyric from this person. How's that
Well, if
possible?
you
How is this person that famous and I have never heard a single bit of it?
if you did, you probably would not understand it because I think most of his stuff is not in English. But I'll say a couple things because I like talking. But I have zero issue with people telling their point of view, like celebrities. If they want to tell their point of view on things, I don't have a problem with it. Now, it's a time and place scenario. I have a certain political view. I coach baseball. I don't go to the baseball field spouting my political point of view. I do it on this. So if they want to do it in their private stuff, go right ahead. But if you're at an
You
event
don't
like
you don't
that
use
where people
DEI to
just
stack your lineup?
it's I wish I could. I just got a bunch of white boys. I need some brothers, some Latino. I need to open the border. Hell, I need a couple Shoheis to roll up in that bad boy. We could use it. But DEI would work in that scenario, but a bunch of old white boys. I think I got to get something. It's crazy. But so I don't have an issue. And actually, Billie Eilish is not my kind of thing. Her music is not my thing. But I did watch a documentary years back, and her story is pretty amazing. Like she lived with her folks, and she basically recorded that first album or so in a room with her brother. So I get it. She is talented. Not my thing that I listen to. And Bad Bunny, not my thing either. But I promise you, The Weeknd, I thought The Weeknd was going to be horrible. I didn't know anything about The Weeknd. But when he did his Super Bowl show, I was like, damn, that was entertaining. So I'm willing to give Bad Bunny a chance, and I will listen. And again, not my thing, but he is like the number one streaming artist in the world in history, I believe. So somebody gets it. So I understand them
We're
making.
catching up close.
Yeah, we're getting there. Somebody is. It's not a horrible move in the fact you get the number one streamed person in the world to do the halftime at the Super Bowl. I get that. And they're not catering to a 47-year-old white guy. I understand that. But I just think you should probably cater it to wherever you're going. In this case, they're going to San Francisco. I don't know if is there a Los Angeles band that might be a little more suited for it?
I think, and again, this
Train.
sometimes I
I
think
want
we get in
Train.
a
I'm a Train guy.
we get in a prisoner of the moment situation here in this world where we sometimes connect dots that really don't have any business being connected. And this may be one of those cases, but it's hard for me to envision that is anything more than woke ass NFL basically giving the middle finger to the rest of America, saying, we know you'll never stop watching our product. And
Yeah.
this is what we're going to do to prove to you that we don't give a shit what you think. We don't give a crap who you are or what you believe. You're going to watch our product, and we know it. I mean, it's true. Like I said, I don't think
Yeah.
the Super Bowl is in the same category. I don't think we can give them the Bud Light treatment because you can't just go out and buy Coors Light or Miller Light for the Super Bowl. There's only one of them. So it'll work. People will tune in, but I'm telling you, you know, you and I started this podcast for a reason, and the underlying core was there's too many people like you and me who've just taken it year after year, just sat there quietly,
Scared to
just
talk
hey, look,
out.
just go along to get along, take the piece, take the high road. I'll take the short stick this time. I'll get it. They're never going to give us anything. They're never going to give us back anything we've given away. So at this point, I'm not looking for a fight. But I'm going to stand my ground on what I believe. And I think the NFL is telling us this.
Yeah, they're like, you're going to watch, and they're mostly right. Now,
I'm going to watch.
Apparently, Turning Point is doing a halftime show with Kid Rock, and I haven't heard any of the other acts that are coming on. And Kid Rock has a couple songs I like. You throw me Bob with the Ball, I'm in. I'm out when it comes to was it Picture or something like that? That was not my fave, but he's got a few bangers. But so I may watch that one. But my kids are going to want to watch Bad Bunny, so I'll watch it. I have zero problem of your political belief, and it doesn't faze me.
To me, it's more of again, respecting the people's right to protest. I respect, look, you can put whoever the heck you want to, and people can choose whether, like, I'm all for freedom, and they have every right to put him out there. I just, with everything we're dealing with in our society, in this nation right now, the turmoil, the divide, it just seems like bad form to me. Like the NFL is going, hey, we could do something to try to bring our society together. But instead, we're going to stick with all the woke stuff, and we're going to put our foot down on your throat and say, hey, if you want to watch the Super Bowl, you're going to have to deal with this too.
Yeah, you won't see Jason Aldean anytime soon out there, which would probably be a good show. Let's do this. What would you think would be a good halftime show for the Super Bowl? Take all into account. Take any kind of having to fit an agenda or wokeness. What is one I got one that if I pick two bands that play together, I think it would be awesome.
All right, who you got?
You want me to go first?
Yeah.
It's gonna be hard to top this, son.
I believe
Follow me here. If you took they're jokes, people like to joke, but every time a song comes on, you can't say it's not good. If you took Creed and Nickelback to play live each of their bangers, 2 or 3 each, and then finish one up in the middle where they sing together, you cannot tell me that wouldn't be badass, son.
I just had one of those weird moments, like right
And
as you
you
were
are
about to
with
let
me.
as you
Come
as you
on
were
now.
about to let that pearl of wisdom out, I was sitting there going, I bet you somehow he's going to drop either Creed or Nickelback into
Yes,
this.
I threw
And I was thinking
both.
you were going to partner one of them up with some sort of rap star, but to go Creed and Nickelback, that is the most like 90s and 2000s white guy thing ever. That
Son,
nobody wants
you
to watch that
cannot
crap.
say, with
No,
arms wide
no,
open.
that is absolutely not the answer.
My
I
crew
don't
was
know what the
standing in
answer is.
line that you
No,
never
that
get
wasn't
in.
it.
Come on, man. Bro,
Uh,
Chad Kroger
Man,
roll like that
I
with
just
some hero. Come on,
I
man.
don't listen to enough music these days to have a feel for what I think. I mean, obviously, you can't do anything country because that again, kind of like the Bad Bunny thing, that just alienates such
Hey,
a
Zach
huge
Brown
part of
would
your market.
freaking
And
tear it down, son.
Zach Bryan is like that's probably my number
Brown
one.
band. You're going
Uh,
Zach Bryan.
no, it's
People
Zach
hate.
Brown.
Oh, I thought you said Zach Bryan. I was
No,
like, people hate him, although some of his stuff's good.
Zach Brown band is toes in the water. That guy that is on my bucket
That
list of
would, dude,
concerts.
tell me that wouldn't be good. That would
I
be
wanted to
all
go
right.
see him. I wanted to see him performing with Buffett before Buffett passed, but
Yeah, that would have been good.
I don't
No.
know that I could have handled the 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 requirements for participating in a concert of that magnitude.
His when he did Free with I think Buffett was there. That was a badass man. Zach Brown, though, we'll get into that because Brooke introduced me to that when I first moved up here, and she had like a burnt CD of his stuff, and it was when Chicken Fried. Nobody
Mhm.
knew what Chicken Fried or who he was, just locally around here. He was playing at like the Gainesville Theater Center or whatever. But dude,
But
him and Corey Smith were the two big that Brooke
but you
introduced me
have
to, and they're good.
you've mentioned, I said, and I keep coming, I don't listen to a lot of music, but you mentioned Jelly Roll early, and Zach Brown is kind of it's a vibe. Like if I'm in a certain mood, like I'll build a fire, sit out by the pool, and listen to Zach Brown for hours. Sometimes when and this sounds a little depressive, and you don't have to worry about me. I'm not suicidal, but sometimes when Haley's traveling for work, I'll put on a little Jelly Roll and sit out there and just listen to it because he speaks to you, man. And knowing what he's been through in his journey and how
Oh,
he found Christ,
let's
that's big.
let's all picture Greg sitting on the couch. Haley's gone, and he's sitting there putting play. He's got maybe a beverage or two. I don't know, maybe a Coors,
Yeah,
or
let's
perhaps
make it a little less depressing. I'm probably
if
sitting outside with a bourbon on the rocks by a bonfire.
he's got a bourbon, but a bonfire. His wife's gone, and he's like, "I am not okay. I'm barely
It
getting
does come up.
by." Oh man, that is both sad and hilarious at the same time. But no, I'm telling you, Creed and freaking Nickelback would be badass. But again, I'll listen to Bad Bunny. I have zero problem, and that's one thing about Trump is that I keep saying I'm gonna say one thing, but I end up saying a couple things. He is a counterpuncher.
Mhm.
Anything he does is
Mhm.
retribution. So he may not start something, but if you come at him, he's gonna go hard against you. And he goes a little too far sometimes. Like, listen, Robert De Niro does not like Donald Trump. We get it. We
Really?
understand. Yeah, shocking, I know. And Donald Trump comes back talking about how horrible of an actor he is and all that. And I'm like, okay, Donald, I'm with you, bro, but have you seen Casino?
Y
I'm just
Yeah,
saying, like, I get where you're coming from because they come at you first, but let's don't get nuts. I mean, come on.
it's tough, and I know you and I have kinda joked about it, like, sometimes on the social media battles and stuff like that, you get sucked in because all the bull crap they're constantly slinging at you, and I try to take a deep breath and go, "Okay, how do you want to formulate a response to this?" But every now and then, that quick wit, like, you just wanna fire something off, and sometimes those are regrettable, and in Donald's case, a lot of what he has put out there on the interwebs has been regrettable, but I mean, you can't take away from what the man's doing, and that's all I'm judging by. Like I have, I'm sure he and I would probably not be friends. I don't know that he would care for my arrogant personality, but I don't think we'd be hanging out. But the guy's doing a pretty darn good job of running the country the way I believe it's being ran. I mean, we live in a world where everything breaks down to these binary choices, but you got to realize there's a lot of variables underlying some of these binary choices and some of the things he's having to do and some of the decisions he's having to make. I mean, everybody's shitting on him from all over the place, but I'm telling you, I think he's on the right track. I think things are going far better than people realize. And I'm just ready for people to wake up and see it.
in order to get things back on track to where they went absolutely off the tracks, I say, like the craziness with the woke ideology. And every time you say woke ideology, everybody's like, oh, that just means you don't care about people. That's not what I'm saying. I don't like Don Lemon talking about he's gay and black. I'm like, bro, it's 2026. Nobody gives a damn. Okay.
Well,
Shocker. I know.
nowadays, anytime you try to use the woke reference, they just immediately say you're racist. Like, when did woke
Oh,
just
yeah.
become black?
If you say woke, you turn into Nazi all of a sudden. And I guess Bill Maher is woke. They're trying to claim Bill Maher is woke. But what was the point I was getting at? What was we talking about before this? Oh,
When it went
about
sideways.
yeah, where it went sideways and off the tracks. I was thinking to myself, man, you need somebody who doesn't give a shit about money because he's got plenty and don't care what people thinks about him. You just got to do the ugly things that are necessary in order to get us back on the right path. And thankfully, Donald Trump is one of those people. Elon Musk was one of those people when it came to social media to help us like, hey, I don't give a shit. I'm just going to put things back to how it should be. And that's exactly what's happened. And you need somebody who's like, hey, listen, it's ugly, it's bad, it's pitiful looking, but we got to close the border and we got to be strict about it, plain and simple.
Well, I think I think it's product of our society, and I think in some ways you're right. I think he is exactly what we needed at this time, because to undo some of the things that needed to be undone and to make some of the changes that need to be made, it wasn't going to be pretty. And you can't have somebody who's focused on making things pretty, which is ironic because as a builder, he makes everything beautiful. He's a great like designer and architect. Like he builds amazing
If you like
properties.
gold,
But
he
this
is.
this was always going to be ugly, and it was always going to be messy because it had gotten way out of hand. And look, he's not the most presidential. He's certainly not the most polished guy in the world. But like you said, I think that's what you needed, because you needed somebody who go, hey, look, you know what? We may shed a few tears, we may shed some blood, we're gonna shed some sweat, but we got to clean this stuff up.
Yeah.
And I think when we come out on the other side, hopefully with 48 being JD Vance, well, that son of a bitch is very presidential. He is very eloquent. He is very polished. And at that point, if we have gotten things moving in the right direction, let's just put his hands on the steering wheel and keep going. But I think we needed what we're going through right now.
Throwing back to when we were talking about crying at movies and stuff, Brooke and I years ago, before we even knew who JD Vance was, watched Hillbilly Elegy, and I didn't even understand who he was. But that story hit close to home with me. Some of the stuff that he went through, as far as the
I'm
drug
sure it did.
addicts and his family and all that. His story is quite amazing. So much so that Ron Howard decided to make the movie. Now, obviously, he's came out against him now because he's on the wrong side apparently, but that movie hit home and his life story is nothing short of amazing. And if he came out and said he was going to run for the Democratic Party, he would be celebrated to the umpteenth degree, because some similarities in his story and mine, except for the fact that I did not go on to be vice president nor go on to go to Harvard and all that, or Ivy League schools. But his story
But
is
in
simply
fairness,
amazing.
David, he didn't go on to be a podcast superstar.
He does not have the common sense superheroes, son. I'm just saying. He did do Charlie Kirk's podcast when that was a good episode. I watched that. Just a great guy. I mean, I'm with you. I pray and hope that he becomes 48, just because I think he has a little bit of what we want in Donald Trump, but a nicer way of putting things in a more eloquent way. And I think he's able to say like, hey, listen, I was wrong.
Have you
Whereas
really
Donald Trump's
thought?
not.
Have you given some thought? And we're way ahead, obviously, of the 2030 elections. But I mean, at this 2028, things move so fast. And uh, how how is the left going to run when Trump's not even in the picture? Like, all they've done for a decade and a half is run anti-Trump everything.
I know.
I've just started kind of thinking about, like, when JD Vance is at the top of the ticket, hopefully, what is, like, they don't have any policy stuff to stand on. It's just whatever Trump says, we're going to criticize it and criticize him. Is that going to be the same approach next round? Like, are they just going to
Listen,
take JD Vance and just go, hey, we're just going to hate him?
much like if anybody ever does anything wrong, and it could be somebody who's completely left ideology, but if he ever even watched The Celebrity Apprentice, it will be on CNN. Crazed gunman who once watched Celebrity Apprentice the whole season shot up 19 people. It won't be the fact that he shot him because he said that he believes Trump's Nazi and all that. No, they'll put the fact, anything they can put the word Trump into, which is kind of why I'm like, hey, I'm almost ready to move on with Trump and drop all the 2020 talk. Just give them something else, because they cling on to that like it's their sacred cow. Which they say what they will, but they love Trump being there because it's such an
Well,
easy win.
But that's my point. And on one hand, I could make the argument that, hey, maybe this is a good thing. Maybe once he's out of the picture, maybe they can regain some semblance of common sense and logic and rational thinking. But the other side of it, and the side that's a whole lot more scary, is when he's removed from the equation, what if this is just going to create a massive vacuum that all these idiots who don't know what the hell they think anyway, now they don't have the one thing they've been focused on for 15 years. Where do they go?
Well, I'm worried that they're gonna try to beat Trump, and I don't think you can ever try to beat Trump. And you see it like we talked about last time, Kristi Noem trying to do it, Stephen Miller trying to do it with the way they talk, and it just doesn't come off the same way. Trump is authentic, if anything. You know exactly how he feels and what he thinks. But I don't think, JD Vance can't be that. JD Vance is good in the way he is. He has a little he's quick, he's smart,
Mhm.
he's got some quips, he can fire back with the best of them, but he doesn't try to be Trump-like, and that's, I think, part of an issue. Because remember when Jeb Bush ran against him, and towards the end there when he was getting whooped, he tried to start trying to come back with insults too, and I'm like, "It's just not real, man. It just doesn't happen." And I thought DeSantis was gonna make a run in this last one, and he didn't. So I think in the Vance, I know they're talking Vance Rubio. The first primary election that Trump was in, I didn't even vote for Trump. I voted for Rubio. I
Mhm.
thought, well, listen, a guy who has Hispanic descent and I enjoy, he's going to win. So I didn't even vote Trump for the first primary. I voted for Rubio. So it's probably going to be Vance and Rubio, but I wouldn't mind seeing a Vance DeSantis or something like that. I really like Ron DeSantis.
I think, and DeSantis is one of those. He has been absolutely brilliant as a leader, unquestionably to me the hands down the best governor I can recall of my generation, and it helps that Florida's a neighboring state, so we get to see a lot of it.
Need I remind
But
you,
man,
Ronald Reagan was the governor. Ronald Reagan, sir.
you talk
Great number
about
40.
bad timing. I think had it not been for the Trump effect and all the weirdness that comes along with Donald Trump in this generation, I think DeSantis would have been our nominee, and I think I mean, again, hindsight's 2020, and having seen what the last year plus has brought, I think Trump was the right guy. I think he's the guy we needed. But I'm with you. In that moment, I thought DeSantis was the best candidate because I'm going,
Yeah.
this guy just knows how to do things the right way. He's respected. He'll lead. But I don't. At the end of the day, I don't know that he had the gravitas and just that natural charisma to do
Ron
what has to be done right
DeSanctimonious.
now.
Ron DeSanctimonious. Trump just eviscerates anybody with the nicknames like Little Marco, but he'll do that, and then next thing you know, you're in his cabinet. So
Yeah.
it's weird how that works. You just got to put up with it. So I'm not that I'm ready to move on from the Trump as far as what he's getting done, because listen, he's getting stuff done. I mean, think about it. You know exactly where you stand. Everybody wants to be like, oh, we don't know anything. They're hiding everything. Bullshit. Listen. And I get so tired of like, he's hiding the Epstein files. He's never been proven anything in the Epstein file, even in this latest release. 3 million freaking pages. Explain to me how many Biden put out there. And then now all of a sudden we're the ones that are the pedophiles or whatever. We trying to protect the pedophiles? What are you
Well,
talking about?
that gets back to, and I put it out on my TikTok earlier this week. Nobody can ever, you can't convince me that if the entire time while Biden was president and the Democrats were in control of both houses, the DOJ, everything, and they're playing this, well, it was under investigation, so they couldn't release it. I get it. That's a technical loophole from the legal world. But you and I both know, had they found anything incriminating on Donald J. Trump, that investigation would have been done. They would have been presenting that to the judge. They
In
would have
a
been arresting
split
his ass.
second.
You look,
Yes.
and that's the one question nobody can answer. Tell me how, with 4+ years of having complete and total control, you made up crazy legal stuff to try to throw it to put this guy in prison for the rest of his life, my life, and everybody else's life. Making legal stuff up. You're telling me they had this and they just sat on it? No chance.
Agreed. Listen, did Trump sound ridiculous when he was going against Marjorie Taylor Greene, who was trying to give the information with the Epstein and all that? When he was trying to be like, "What? We're not even talking about that anymore." That was a bad look. I did not like that at all, because you did run on the
Well,
fact that you were talking about the Epstein files and opening it up. You
and
did.
let,
I'm
let
not
me
making that up. Did that. So when you did a 180 on that, it was a very bad look, and it took some illegal windings, but They released a lot of information. I don't know what else they need.
Well, and let me come at it from this standpoint because it's rare that I get to say this. In this moment, I agree with the folks on the left. It should just be released. But I've
Yeah.
said that from day one. To me, I don't care who's in it, how high up they are, or what the repercussions are. The only disinfectant is light. Light is truth. Let's let it out and see what happens. And we as Americans can decide how to proceed. I don't care who's in it. We just want to know if they have screwed this up all along the way. If this report is to contain the type of information it is purported to contain, you can't put that out there and then try to keep it secret. You can't say, hey, there's this major pedophilic sex ring that is involving a bunch of government higher ups all over the world, but we're never going to tell you who they are. No,
Yeah.
that's never going to work.
And I'm not going to blame the victims by no means, but I do see a lot of them on CNN and whatnot talking about all the names they know, but they're not saying. I'm like, why are you not saying? You can get all the protection in the world. And this is an exact, like I said, I watch, for some reason, watch a lot of CNN. Exactly. And this was almost a near quote of what took place. They were talking to a lady who was a victim, unfortunately, and she was upset that they were not bringing out all the information, that there was so many redactions. And in the same thing, the very next question from the lady at CNN was like, "What do you think about the first one? Before they put a bunch of redactions that they got a lot of the victims' names out there, and how upset were you at that? It's unfair that they were treating these women and making them be victims." I'm like, so you just was upset about the fact that they redacted a bunch of names, and then you were upset that they didn't redact a bunch of names? I'm like, I don't know what to say. Like you come in at both sides. I don't know what I'm like, am I really seeing this correctly? You're complaining on both issues?
David, I've always been a little bit of a hustler, and sometimes I've learned that if you just slide things through pretty quick, people don't pick up on them. I used to, as a kid, I used to walk around people I'd take a quarter. I go, look, heads I win, tails you lose, flip. And if you don't give them time to think about what you just said, well, I said
Yeah,
heads
you
I
just
win,
won
tails
both
you
ways.
lose. I'm like, that's what it's like dealing with a Democrat because it doesn't matter which side of the coin you choose, they're going to win. That's how they see it. They own both sides of the coin.
And if you best believe, if there was pictures of Donald Trump in a jacuzzi with a woman whose face was redacted with uh, Ghislaine Maxwell, which her name's already weird enough as is. If you had pictures of him being massaged in I guess it was a plane, whatnot, by one of the young girls, you best believe that will be top billing. You'll be blaming him on everything under the sun. But you got pictures like that of Bill Clinton, and nobody says a word. It's like, oh well. And then allegedly now they're going to have to go in front of, I guess, Congress or somebody and do a little. Did get indicted, not indicted. What's the word I'm looking for?
I'm just ready for
They
it to
got to
all
talk
come out.
basically.
At the end of the day, we just need to flush this out of the system and be done with it. But again, I think that's exactly, the ICE stuff in Minnesota right at the same time as the fraud. I mean, all this stuff, man, it just, the timing of when stuff gets released, it just more and more gets so much harder and harder to believe that we really know the truth about anything that's going on.
Yeah. And listen, this has been an episode where we kind of went off the cuff. We promise we're going to get better as far as details that lined up. In fact, our next show, we're going to talk a little Super Bowl action is the plan. And we're going to have a special guest. My good buddy, Coach Tyler Carlton's going to come on and give us some X's and O's breakdowns. He used to coach at Wofford, and I believe you lost your first bet last time.
I did.
Yep.
It was
Coastal Carolina put a whooping on Wofford, didn't it?
I tell you, as someone who's been a gambler my whole life, I would much rather tote a 25-point butt whooping than have one come down to a buzzer beater that cost you any money. So that one was over from probably halfway into the first half. I caught a little glimpse of the score. Go, whoop, on the wrong side of that one. Let's just move on.
Yeah, but thanks for everybody listening to the shows and giving us feedback. I really appreciate that. And please continue to do it. Wherever you listen to podcasts, I put us on iHeart. I put us on Deezer. I don't even know what the hell that is, but I put us on that. I'm trying to spread the word. Listen, it can go off the rails at times, but we try to stay on track for the most part and cover our topics. There's so much going on. Like, I wish we could almost do it daily because, man, every freaking night there's something new happening with the speed at which things are taking place. And like I said, we just try to come at it from a common sense standpoint. And back to the Epstein thing, the common sense standpoint tells you that Bill Gates is a damn freak, son. Bill Gates, bro.
It's always the ones you
just
most
take a look.
expect.
Just take a look. That's all I'm saying. But we might get into an Epstein episode later. We probably do a January 6th episode. All the political topics that seem to be off. We might even go into a COVID vaccine podcast episode. Who knows? We might go off the rails and see what happens. But Greg, it was, as always, I love talking common sense with you, brother. You got any you can save it for the sports show if you want, but you got any
Yeah,
betting tips
we'll
tonight?
save that. I'll ask everybody to like, share, subscribe, do all the things, push all the buttons, help us try to infect some other idiots with this nonsense we keep putting out there.
Yeah, and like I said, thanks for listening. We appreciate it. And tune in later this week for our Super Bowl special episode. That's hard to say. Jeez. Anything else, Greg?
Nope. Love y'all. God bless.
Peace out.